The final week of the All-Time Rosters Franchise Preseason, it begins in Atlanta between the Ravens and the Falcons. Thrilling finish of this one as quarterback Steve Bartkowski delivers a fourth down pass to William Andrews to keep the game alive. Then following a penalty, he throws what would be the game-winning touchdown with 45 seconds to go. The Ravens have had a quarterback situation all preseason. Do they start Lamar Jackson or Joe Flacco for the opener against Pittsburgh? Jackson, the leader in the clubhouse, coming in with a big interception, and the Falcons win. The third stringers play the entire game for week 4 of the preseason. Billy Wade, the Chicago quarterback, played all of this one against Cleveland. Due to the brutal performance of Jay Cutler, Wade could beat him out for a quarterback spot. He throws the go-ahead touchdown here to Hewitt, and then with under a minute to go, Kosar, playing hero ball, launches this one deep, a little short of the end zone, but an incredible catch to Renfro to the 3. Chubb is denied with 5 seconds to play, and the Browns couldn't get another snap off and lose just a couple of feet away from the goal line. Chicago 14, Cleveland 7. Another quarterback spot on the line in Dallas, who closed the preseason against Miami. Tony Romo beating out Dak Prescott going into the finale today. A look at his numbers. Put together another virtuoso performance. In fact, the best of any quarterback in week 4 of the preseason. A touchdown earlier, then another one to close the half. Des Bryant gets under it here as the Cowboys, with 302 yards out of their quarterback, embarrass the Dolphins to close the preseason. Speaking of star performances, the Cardinals' third stringer Kyler Murray was on his A game here. A dazzling opening drive capped by the 41-yarder to David Boston. Denver would tie it up after this big pass play to Brandon Marshall, but Murray would strike again with this touchdown to Boston and then another one on the ground to close a terrific performance for the perennial Pro Bowler Kyler Murray. 155 yards through the air and over 100 more yards on the ground, and a dominant performance for Arizona. Not all the quarterbacks starred in week 4 of the preseason. We take you to Buffalo, New York, between the all-time Lions and the all-time Bills. We had a disappointing outing for Detroit's Greg Landry. He was the leader in the clubhouse going into the finale today against Buffalo. A pick 6 to Steve Freeman. He would bounce back with a big throw play later to tight end Sam Laporta for the touchdown. But this game was littered with Landry mistakes. He coughs up a fumble here, picked up by Milano, and then he'd give it up again in the third quarter. The Lions win this one and go undefeated in the preseason, but Jared Goff may have just won the job with the struggles from Landry today. Similar struggles for the Texans' C.J. Stroud today in the finale at Minnesota. Not the same for the Vikings offense this afternoon, led by quarterback Kirk Cousins. A big pass here to Anthony Carter leads to a Viking touchdown, and they'd find the end zone again. A third quarter burst of 35 for Chuck Foreman. Minnesota will play the Chargers next week. Another dazzling football game between two great quarterbacks and former MVP Burt Jones, and a sensational passer on the other side in Cincinnati's Joe Burrow. The two passers would combine for over 450 yards through the air and 5 touchdowns. One of them here in the fourth quarter with 4.5 minutes to go. Deep to Collinsworth for 63. What a play to give the Bengals the lead. Jones would march them into the red zone, but Jimmy Orr stopped a couple yards away. And then Nixon, with the exclamation point, rips off the longest run of the preseason. 93 yards for the Bengal victory, 28-17. Hall of Fame day for both Jones and the Bengals' Joe Burrow. Rematch of the NFL's first ever Super Bowl, Chiefs and Packers. Greg Jennings won the final receiver spot last week for Green Bay. Then a week later, he's in the end zone for a 50-yard Packer touchdown. Green Bay closes the preseason 3-1 and will begin the regular season with part of our quadruple header on Thursday against New Orleans. The decision was made last week for the all-time Giants to go with Fran Tarkenton as their final quarterback over Phil Simms. Very solid numbers for the Hall of Fame quarterback, and he was terrific in the fourth quarter again, guiding a go-ahead drive for the all-time Giants. After a big pass to Shockey, Tarkenton moves the chains again to the lunging Plaxico Burress, And then with under a half minute to go, this field goal from Brown, his 5th of the day, secures the Giants win. 15-13 New York. An outstanding day from Joe Morris. A brutal preseason for the Raiders offense, and it got even worse in the Pacific Northwest today. Gannon, another turnover as he's picked off by Eugene Robinson, and the Seahawks would convert just 2 plays later. Jim Zorn to Sean Alexander. The Raiders go winless in the preseason. Decisions at quarterback for the all-time Eagles. It comes down to this. For the 3rd string position, Jalen Hurts against Ron Jaworski. 94 yards passing, another 55 on the ground, an exhibition play. But Hurts was spectacular in this one. His favorite receiver was Harold Jackson, who went over 100 yards. And Hurts was terrific on the ground as well. 31-3, the Eagles rout the Jets on the road. 200 yards passing for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts. The Eagles' Harold Jackson was outstanding, but in the butt whooping from Charlotte, the Steelers' Lewis Lips was even better. Another couple touchdowns for the receiver. Lewis Lips closes the preseason 5th in receiving and the league leader with 3 touchdown grabs. The easiest 280 yards for Hall of Famer Y.A. Tittle of his illustrious career, and it came at San Diego's expense. It begins on the first play of the offensive day for Joe Perry in San Francisco. He slipped through a tackle and is gone. And if that wasn't impressive, this one certainly is. Running off the entire defense, another 80-yarder for Taylor. And then from 36 on a screen pass, Tittle to Craig for the 3rd touchdown pass of the day for the Hall of Fame QB. A dominant win for San Francisco, who will begin the regular season next week against Seattle. Maurice Jones-Drew set to lead the Jags in the regular season at running back, but 3rd stringer Travis Etienne led them in this one, the preseason finale against St. Louis. This diving touchdown ties us up at 14 with 3.5 minutes to go. The Rams have a good stringer too in Steven Jackson. He begins the drive here for the offense. Billy Troe with a big catch over the middle, and then the Rams clinch it with a walk-off field goal from Jeff Wilkins. It's the Rams at home against Philly to begin the regular season. Jacksonville will play Tennessee. There's plenty of discussion going into the game against Washington as to whether Doug Williams would emerge in front of Jameis Winston for the 2nd string quarterback spot behind, of course, the GOAT Tom Brady. But those discussions came to an end in a big way against Rocky McIntosh in Washington in the finale. A brutal performance for Williams. Winston will be in front of Williams for the regular season opener, Tampa Bay against Detroit. Led by Hall of Famer Drew Brees, the Saints should be an incredible offense when the number 1s take the field against Green Bay on Thursday. But led by Aaron Brooks, they were overwhelmed with the 3rd stringers against George Blanda and the all-time Titans Oilers. A pair of touchdown passes for Blanda today, and CJ2K found the end zone as well. A Tennessee-Houston rout to close the preseason. Our final score, 33-7. Check out the numbers today from George Blanda, who will be behind Warren Moon and Steve McNair as the team's 3rd string QB. Congratulations to the all-time Giants, Steelers, and Lions who went undefeated in the preseason. The leading passer, Tony Romo, leading rusher, Red Grange, and Brandon Cooks. Of all guys that would have expected to lead the preseason in receiving, it was not him. Here's the remaining league leaders for exhibition play. Teams will trim their roster from 55 to 53 tomorrow. Check out the Roster Cut Day show then. We have a quadruple header also with 4 full-game broadcasts of all the primetime games coming up this week. Brian Cushing, MVP of the preseason. Before we check out the regular season, here are the preseason scores. And then away we go. Quadruple header and the all-time rosters franchise. It finally begins this week, beginning with New Orleans and Green Bay.